If you start a playthrough of the original Pokémon Red or Blue and walk into the tall grass on Route 3, you are almost certain to encounter a small purple rabbit. This radar chart compares Nidoran to a standard mid-game creature. At a glance, the species looks weak. It has a base stat total of 273, paired with low speed and thin defenses. Yet, if you consult modern hardcore players, competitive Smogon data, or Nuzlocke survival tier lists, you will find this exact creature sitting in the S-tier category. Nidoran is a mechanical outlier, a relic of the Game Boy era operating by its own rules. Its history is defined by 3 distinct game-breaking anomalies. Within the original 151 entries in the Pokédex, Nidoran Male and Nidoran Female occupy 2 entirely separate numerical slots. In 1996, the game's code possessed no concept of gender. Because the 2 designs were so physically distinct, developers had to program them as 2 unrelated species. When it came time to translate the game for international release, this coding split forced translators into a corner. The original Japanese name relies on the prefix Nido, which proved difficult to adapt into Western languages. Most regions adopted the Japanese name wholesale, but to distinguish the 2 species, they appended the universal symbols for male and female directly into the name. This was a text-based fix for a programming limitation, a workaround that was never repeated for any other Pokémon in the franchise. 3 years later, the developers introduced a breeding mechanic to the series. Nidoran's legacy code immediately clashed with this new system. At their base level, the male and female forms can breed together normally. But once they reach their final evolutions, their biological rules diverge. When the female evolves into Nidoqueen, the connection to the egg drops, rendering her sterile. But the male evolves into Nidoking and remains fertile. Breeding him with a Ditto gives a 50% chance of hatching a female. He produces a technically separate species. This instability is reflected mechanically in competitive formats through the ability Hustle. It provides a massive boost to physical power, but causes the creature to suffer from severe accuracy drops. By attempting to retrofit modern biology onto a first-generation anomaly, the developers created a creature whose life cycle defies the game's internal logic. These programming quirks translate directly into power during a playthrough. Players can acquire a moonstone almost immediately after catching a Nidoran. This bypasses the weak middle stage and provides a fully evolved Nidoking before the second gym. This move pool makes little sense for a poison-type Rhino. His anomalous coding grants him access to an array of moves from nearly every element: Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Surf, and Earthquake. That coverage targets the hardest battles. He sweeps Lieutenant, surges electric types, crushes Giovanni's ground types, and carries through the Elite Four. This anomalous existence provides a rule-breaking toolkit that outweighs any statistical weakness. Modern gaming is highly standardized. The late 90s were an era of messy, experimental development. Nidoran Male forced the invention of gender mechanics, baffled translators, and broke the internal breeding system, all while becoming a dominant playthrough weapon. Nidoran is a byproduct of a specific era of limitation, the result of developers building a world faster than their hardware could keep up. Remember that the next time you step into the tall grass on Route 3.